everyone, welcome back to another episode of Last Window, The Secret of Cape West. Thanks for tuning in. So last time, what was happening at the beginning of this episode? We had a very, just kind of heart-to-heart talk, or open talk with our mom about Dad. We never talked to each other about him. We've kind of sworn not to touch upon the subject, but we sort of, lashed out at her a little bit, hey, why were you okay with this criminal history, blah, 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 all this stuff, and then we just kind of decided not to talk about it. Tony comes in, he's talking about how the way he ditched us last night, how it went, his romance troubles, and now Rex's notebook that he left behind that Betty decided to give to us. So let's take a look and see what's inside. I open Rex's notebook. Inside, there's something written. It reads, 1967, Condor disappeared. Jack Green disappeared. Jack Green, huh? I don't know that that's a name we've heard up to this point, maybe? Jack Green. Who the hell's he? Ugh. Why are we getting so many calls this morning? Huh? It's my phone again. Alright, who is it? Who is it? Mom, better not be you calling me again. I gotta cool off a little bit. Hello? From the other end of the line, I hear a very familiar voice. Rachel. Okay, it is Rachel. Rachel. Merry Christmas, sweetie. I've got some good news for you. Ed's made a dramatic recovery and will be out of the hospital by the weekend. That's great! I'm so glad to hear that Ed's all right. Aw, that's good to hear. Yes, it's pretty comforting, but the doctor laid down the law. He said Ed really can't afford to push himself anymore. He has to avoid any unnecessary stress that could put strain on his heart. So I guess that means we'd better not give him too much trouble. What do you mean we? You mean you, right, Kyle? You're the one who's always slacking off giving him heart attacks and trouble. You mean you'd better not. Same page, Rachel. But yeah, that's what I figured too. So, how about you? Have there been any developments? Nothing too exciting, but there is something I need you to check out. What is it? I need you to check out someone connected to Rex Foster. Someone going by the name of Jack Green, who was under investigation by Rex. He may have disappeared off the grid after 1967. Jack Green, 1967. Got it. I'll see what I can dig up. Expect a call when I find something. Thanks. Thanks, Rachel. This is so funny, On Twitter just the other day. Oh, let me see what he said. Okay. On Twitter just the other day, I saw this post saying something about how, in movies, people are madmen in that they never properly say bye to each other. That's something I noticed in this game, but I guess it is something that might be prevalent throughout many different media and movies and such. They don't properly say, okay, bye, or talk to you later, see you next time. I think they probably did that sometimes in this game, but mostly I keep noticing they literally just finish their piece and just hang up, which is just so weird. So I can kind of agree with that tweet to an extent. But anyways, looks like I'm going to be in a loose end until Rachel gets back to me about Jack Green. Hang on. I just remembered. I need to return Sidney's record to him. All right. Okay. Well, that's very nice of us to want to return it. So let's go ahead and talk to him and see what things that I wonder if Sidney's going to discuss what he went through. I mean, did he use that during the time he separated from his ex-wife? Because that's probably a high possibility, but I don't know. It was just kind of sad when Kyle was like, oh, this is the kind of song you listen to alone to be depressed. I was like, oh man. Sometimes you just need to listen to some sad music to cope with stuff. I get it. I understand. Sidney, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Mr. Hyde. Thanks again for last night. It was a refreshing change of pace. I enjoyed myself too. It was a lovely time. Thank you so much, Sidney. I think last night is going to be a Christmas Eve I'll be sure to remember. You really didn't have to be working that night though, Sidney. You really didn't have to be. Yeah, you and me both. Would you care for anything to eat? No, I'm good. I just came to return that record you loaned me. Here you are, friend. Thank you so much. It was very beautiful. Take it. I hand Sidney back his record. Thanks for that. Did you listen to it? Why do you mean, did we listen to it? Yes, of course we did. Yeah, I took it home and listened to it all night. Is that so? It's not the kind of thing I usually listen to, but the song's nostalgic to me. Thanks to your record, I had a bit of a sentimental moment alone in my room. It does you good to come out of yourself from time to time. Yeah, I think it does. Yeah. Talk about working through your emotions. Working through emotions is very, very healthy. And working through and displaying them and sharing them with each other, is very healthy. Actually, Mr. Hyde, there was something I wanted to talk to you about. Yeah? Actually, what is it? Just come out and say it. Is this finally relating to what Claire wanted to ask us of, where he was trying to find somebody new? I wanted to ask for your help with something. Is it flirting with Mags? Is that what's going on? It's about Claire. Oh, okay, wait, what's going on? Has something happened to her? She's been acting funny ever since she got home last night. Uh-oh. And she hasn't said a word to me all morning. Wait, okay. So something happened last night when she was hanging out with friends? I'm scared. What's going on? However many times I ask her, she won't say a thing. I'm at the end of my tether. Unless she spent Christmas Eve maybe with her mom or something and didn't want to tell him? I don't know. So, what do you want me to do? So, we're like the go-between between the two of them because they just can't communicate with each other. I want you to find out what the problem is. Would you mind speaking to her on my behalf? Sometimes when I look at her, all I see is a naive young girl. If you agree to speak to her, you'll find her cleaning the billiards room. I'm counting on you, Mr. Hyde. Well, these two, why am I your go-between? I mean, I would always say like I'm the worst person to because I'm so unfriendly, but honestly, we know what he's truly like, so I suppose maybe we're a good person for this. Claire. I'm sorry, but I'm busy with the cleaning at the moment. Aw. Oh dear. Claire, your dad's worried. Are you still worried about your dad? Let's try that. Claire, are you still worried about your dad? Yes, I am. You remember what we talked about the day before Christmas Eve? Did you get around to asking him about it? Did you find out if there's someone special in his life? I never got around to asking him outright, but I kind of got an impression from the way he was acting. So what you're trying to tell me is that you didn't ask, right? I'm not interested in maybes. I need to know for sure. Claire, after all, this could be the last chance. Well, yeah, what's happening? What does that mean? I knew it. I just knew it. I had a feeling all along that he wouldn't keep his promise. Oh, okay, this sounds really complex. What's going on? Break it down for us, Claire. The last chance for what, Claire? The last chance for him and Mom to get back together. If Dad doesn't step in and do something right away, it'll be too late. Mom's going to move to Boston. That's what I mean when I say this is his last chance. Oh, okay. So you're holding out hope for your folks to give it a second try, is that it? A lot of times when people separate, it's because, I mean, there's not always a surefire thing, you know? But it's between the two of them, you know? It's between them two. But maybe if they're being too stubborn and you think there's just a miscommunication, that if they actually openly communicate about it, it could clear up and maybe patch things up. Maybe she's seeing that, but I don't know. That's right. I want them to get back together more than anything. I've been wishing for it for ages now. I see. That's where I was last night. Oh, so she was with her mom. That's where I was last night, Mr. Hyde. With Mom. That's when she told me about her plans to leave for Boston. I asked her straight if she'd give Dad a second chance and try to start over. But this is how she responded. She said that she still loved him, even now, but that she couldn't return to Lucky's Cafe. Sure, it has good memories for her, but it also has some bad ones, too. She was scared that returning here would bring the bad ones back, and she couldn't stand it. What kind of bad memories? Memories about Dad's loans. Oh, it's a financial thing, huh? Oof. She told me all about it. After they fell out, business started to decline at the cafe. Mom hated the idea of borrowing money off a certain person, but Dad did it anyway. That's what eventually led to them breaking up. Money makes things very complicated. Oh, man. Claire, what promise was that? It was one Dad made after Mom left. What did he promise? He promised something on the first Christmas without Mom. It was a sad Christmas for me. Dad was busy at the cafe and I was all alone. I waited up until he'd finished work and returned home. He was a little drunk when he got there, though. Still, when he saw me, he pulled me into a hug and said that we would find happiness. Just the two of us. He promised that we'd be happier than we'd ever been before. Happier than you'd ever been, huh? He forced himself into a smile at the time, but I knew the truth. I could see past his smile into the tears that fell from his eyes. I knew that Mom leaving was the hardest thing he'd ever had to deal with in his life. That's why I promised him something too that night. I promised that I'd also look for a way for us to be happy. And that's why you started to think of getting them back together, right? Right. That's all I've thought about since. But I don't know what Dad's thinking anymore. Oh, man. Who was the person he borrowed from? It was Mrs. Patrice. Huh. Okay, I'm trying to think if there's been pieces of evidence for that beforehand. I don't know that there wasn't any that I remembered. It must have been very subtle. Okay. Mags. That's what I heard. He got the money he needed from her. Mom's never been able to forgive him for that. And you knew about this? No, I had no idea. I'd never heard about it until last night. This is the last thing Mom told me last night. She said Dad still hadn't repaid all the money he borrowed. Oh, jeez. Ugh. It's crazy. Like, I'm not gonna get into too much detail, but I have some family members in my life where there are people very close to them and, you know, it seems like everything's good, but money gets involved and then they don't pay it back and then things get strained and then the person who borrowed the money kind of runs away. Like, you wouldn't think it would happen to you when it's somebody very close to you, but it happens, and it's so sad to see play out, upsetting to see play out, but like, things are just so complicated. Oh, capitalism, dude. Who was I trying to kid? Dreaming that Mom and Dad would get back together and we'd all live happily ever after? I certainly let my imagination get the better of me, didn't I? I should have known it was never going to happen. It was stupid to think it even could! Claire, as we get older, we learn to become more accepting of each other's shortcomings. I'm sure your folks are no different either. So if they really still love each other enough to put that whole ordeal in the past, who's to say that your dream won't come true after all? My dream? It's all down to how much affection they still have for each other. I'll tell you what your dad told me last night. I'll tell you just how much your dad still loves your mom. Mr. Hyde! You take everything too much to heart, Claire. But sooner or later, both of them are going to sit up and notice how you're feeling. When that happens, they'll finally be able to answer each other's questions. That's why the best thing you can do is keep that smile on your face and stop sighing. You're right, Mr. Hyde. I need to look on the bright side. I'm still curious, though. Yeah, okay, about Sidney's debt. Wow. We have such a contrasting character. It's very interesting. Like, we're so cold, unsociable, pretty harsh with people, but at the same time, we're so, like, kind, you know? I wouldn't call him really a tsundere. Like, he doesn't quite fit that. Like, I guess if you really want to oversimplify his character, I suppose you could put him under that category, but I don't know. I just think it's nice how straightforward he can be with people, you know? Sidney, how did it go, Mr. Hyde? Did you manage to find out what's been troubling Claire? I asked her, all right, but she's got some serious worries on her mind. She's worried about love. About what? Oh, I feared it might be something like that. I should have known something was up when she left at that hour last night. So, what's going on? Has she hooked up with some guy? Is he treating her badly? Ow! Whoa, hold on there, Sidney. Let's not jump to conclusions. But you just told me she's having problems with her love life. This is what you said, wasn't it? Not really, no. It's got nothing to do with her love life. I phrased it very misleadingly, just to have a dramatic reaction come out of you. You fell for it. It was good, right? She's worried about her mom and you. Her mom and me? It was her mom she met up with last night. Literally, they are one room apart, and we are just their middleman, their go-between. Just talk to each other. You know what she's hoping? I am an unrelated third party. I am just a customer that I don't know. We're friends, I suppose. We're all friends, but still, she's hoping that you and her mom will give it another try. So, that's what this is all about. Also, there's something I need to ask you. What is it? All right, let's ask about your debt. What's happening with the loan from Mags? How on earth did you find out about that, Mr. Hyde? Claire let me in on it. and it was her mom who told her. I see. Well, it all goes back to when we needed money to get this place up and running. Mrs. Patrice was kind enough to give us what we needed. It all stems from me knowing her late husband. Okay. I've been paying in installments each month. In half a year, my debt'll be settled. She said she has too many bad memories to do with money troubles. For her, it's a very real reason not to give you a second chance to get back together. So that's the root of it. She still doubts me. Oh gosh, this is so messy! How did you know Mags's husband? He was a customer in the restaurant here when this place was still a hotel. I would wait on his table a lot. I used to work there when I was younger, you see. Anyway, George Patrice, or Mrs. Patrice's husband, as I should call him, was a regular. Very partial to cheesecake, as I recall. What kind of man was he? I remember him telling me that he used to play the sax in his youth, but at the time, when I knew him, he was the owner of several eateries around town. To sum him up, he wasn't afraid to spread his money around. All the waiters jostled for the right to wait on his table. Of course, all they were after were the tips he'd offer them and nothing more. He'd always be around when the hotel was having an evening event. In particular, he always came to the parties they called Scarlet Star. Wow, they literally just called the party itself Scarlet Star. How did we not even hear about this before? Did we not ask Sidney, like, hey, what do you know about Scarlet Star? Did we just neglect to ask him in particular? Jesus. What connection could this have to the thing I'm looking for? And I guess Marie just wasn't savvy enough with the hotel stuff to just know right off the bat that that's what the parties were called. What does Claire's mom doubt about you? She thinks there's something between me and Mrs. Patrice. That's what I thought was going on too. That the new person in your life might be her. Okay, but this is different than I was expecting. The mom is suspecting that something's going on. Huh. She does. It was just something my wife was worried about. You see, when Mrs. Patrice was standing trial, I believed that she was innocent. My wife was convinced she was guilty. Oh man, even more messiness! What is this? And from that point, she was sure that Mrs. Patrice and I had something going on, meaning that when I borrowed the money, she refused to forgive me for what I'd done. So, was there any truth to it? You and Mrs. Patrice, I mean. Or was it simply all a huge misunderstanding on Claire's mom's part? Of course it was just a misunderstanding! I only had eyes for her! There was never anything between me and Mrs. Patrice. Oh man! Oh! There were parties called Scarlet Star? How did I not ask you about this before? I could have saved so much time! Yes, there were. Every month, Hotel Cape West would hold a party on a date with the number 6 on it. Those parties would be called Scarlet Star. How did they earn that name, though? I couldn't tell you! I haven't got the faintest idea, I'm afraid. Other parties that were held there had similar names, like Gold Star or Silver Star. Those were held on dates with the number 3 or 9. Oh, interesting. Devil 666. What kind of parties were they? Just run-of-the-mill affairs, really. You know, the type with food and drinks and a live band and dance floor. I was there on a number of occasions, and they were all pretty similar. I mean, sounds like a good time to me, I guess. I'm not a good dancer, though. I can't dance, but sometimes it's fun to try and just throw away my embarrassment and just wiggle my body around a little bit, flail it around, look beautiful. Sidney, when did Mag stand trial? Well, let's just forget about that, shall we? I'm pressing. I'm absolutely pressing. Sidney, tell me about it so you can't tell me, huh? Let's do that. So, you can't tell me, huh? Not really. Well, I can't beat it out of you, but I can ask you nicely. Will you tell me? Yeah, I suppose I could. Seeing as it's you I'm talking to, but let's have him tell us about Mag's standing trial in the next episode. My God! I don't know that we heard anything about this. Huh. What does this all mean? What if it's secretly like Sidney's wife that's sending Mags the threats? I doubt that that's it, but like, who even knows at this point? There's so many tangled webs involved here. Oh my God. Again, they're literally one room apart. We're probably being loud enough for her to hear us. Maybe it's a far enough away distance, but we're having this very serious conversation. Who's to say Claire isn't pressed up against the door trying to listen to us talk right now, huh? Oh boy. All right, join me next time. This is Axis, over and out.